So, hello and welcome everyone in third lecture. Okay, so till then now we have did two lectures on this SEBI special series, and we have started with chapter of demand and supply. And in very first chapter, I have explained about law of demand. And while defining the law of demand, I told you about the difference between demand and desire. And after that, I told you about the law. And when the law is being means the definition, various other variables are constant, we can use the other term ceteris paribus, right? And as per the law of demand, price and demand is in inverse proportion. Fine. And accordingly, we have defined the goods in the normal goods and given goods. And apart from normal and given goods, I also explained you about Veblen goods or luxury goods. So normal goods, they do follow the law of demand, and inferior goods and luxury goods, they do not follow the law of demand, right? And those normal goods who do not means as per law of demand, price is inversely proportional to the demand, right? But when but when the change in price is greater than change in demand, right? Means we are increasing the price, but the rate of change in the demand is less than change in the price, then those goods are known as essential goods. Because they are essential in the nature, people generally try to maintain their demand even if the price is being little bit change or increase or decrease, right? So this is why they are known as a essential goods. So essential goods do follow the law of demand. Keep remember this thing, because sometimes students get confused. Essential goods do not follow the law of demand. They are little bit resistant. They are little bit resistant to the law of demand. Means when the price is changed, they do not respond in the similar manner or very hyper manner. The response is little bit low. Means if the price is increased to 10 to 20 to 30%, so when the price is increased to 30%, you can see the change in the demand only 5 to 10%, right? So change in the demand is less than change in the price. So these goods are known as essential goods, right? So this point you should remember, because sometimes students get this mistake, and especially in the exam they feel that they do not follow the law of demand. Essential goods do follow the law of demand. Okay. And after that, I have explained you about this demand curve is down sloping, and whenever we have to see the curve, we have to see it from the this point. Means origin point is the both axes are meet, x and y axis. So we have to see the curve from this side, and it is down sloping curve. And after that, I have introduced the law of supply. Under the law of supply, price and supply is in direct proportion if other variables are constant, ceteris paribus, right? And accordingly, I have drawn the graph, supply curve, and as per supply curve is going to be what? Upward sloping if we will take supply and price, right? Then I explained all these four cases through supply curve, right? All five supply curve I have explained you here in this manner. All five supply curve I have explained. And after that, in the law of demand, we back to the law of demand. And in the law of demand, what we did, we in the law of demand, I have put the variable of income. I have introduced the income variable. Means law of demand said that other variables are constant, then price is inverse proportional to the demand, right? So what we did, we have changed the income variable. Earlier income was constant at I1, and this curve was drawn, right? And then we have increased the income. Then we have seen that the income, when the income is increased, demand curve was shifted in the right direction or upwards. But when income is decreased, the demand curve shifted to left or downwards, right? Today we are going to introduce the same kind of variable in law of supply also. right? So law of supply curve is like that, price and supply, and as per this law, price is directly proportional to supply, right? Now, when we say this, when we say this, other variables are constant, right? For example, income is also constant, and we just consider income is I1, right? So at income I1, this is the supply curve. This is the supply curve, this is the price axis, and this is supply axis. Okay, so we just, okay. Now we will see how supply curve will respond when income, which is I1, income is what? Income is I1, and we are going to change the income, right? So first, from I1, income is increased to I2. When income will increase from I1 to I2, what will happen? What will happen in the supply curve? So as we know that once the price, sorry, when the income is increased, people's capacity to purchase, people's capacity to purchase is going to increase. If the income is going to increase, person's capacity to purchase is going to increase, right? So there will be more demand, and in order to cater that demand, right, what supplier is going to do, they will increase the supply. Fine. So once income will increase, people will demand more goods. Once people will demand more goods, then supplier is going to increase its supply. Remember that here, apart from two variable, these two variable, price and supply. So as per law of demand, other variables are constant. Other variables are constant. Income is also constant. But what we are going to do here is we are going to change the variable of income, right? We are going to change the variable of income. That means apart from this income variable, all other variables, consumer behavior, government policy, right, all other things are still constant, only we are changing the income variable, right? So if you will increase the income, people's capacity to purchase is going to increase. Then at the same price P1, this was the price P1. At the price P1, supply was S1. But now income is increased and supplier is definitely going to increase its supply. So at price P1, supply will be what? Supply will be S2. So every time, every time income was I1, P1 was the price, S1 was the supply, and this was the curve. So what we did, we increased the income. So at income increase, so at the price P1, supply will increase from S1 to S2, right? Supply was increased from S1 to S2. Now, if we will increase the price, if we will increase the price from P1 to P2, then what will happen? Supply will definitely is going to what? Supply is definitely going to increase as per law of supply. So from S1 to S2, it will S3, and we will get the new point here on the curve like this, S3 P2. So every time we will increase the price, supply is going to increase, and in this manner S4 P3. So all supply curve points are going to shift in this direction, and we will get curve in this manner. We will get the curve in this manner, and this curve is showing what? This curve is showing, curve name is SSI increase. Means increase, income is increase. So what we can say? We can say that when income will increase, when we can say that, what we can say that if income will if income will increase, then supply curve will shift in right side downwards, right? So what happens, generally students get confused here. Why they get confused here? The problem is, see, compare this income increase curve of supply with income increase curve of demand, right? Income increase curve of demand, what happened here? When income was increased, supply demand curve was also shifted in right direction. Here demand curve is also shifted in the right direction, okay, but apart from right direction, it was shifted upwards. It was shifted upwards. So here we have said that if income is going to increase, demand curve will shift upwards or right direction. Upwards or right direction. Here, when income was increased in the supply curve was shifted in the right direction, but not upwards, but downwards. Fine. So here we said that what? Upwards or right side. Here what we are saying, downwards or right side. Income increases, it will shift right side or downwards. Here what was happened? Here it was shifted in the right direction, but upwards, right? So people get confused, upwards, downwards, right side, left side. So if in exam, if you are going to get confused, if you are get miss, you have a confusion in your mind. If you have a confusion in your mind, if you have a rough paper, please try to draw the diagram on the rough paper to get this idea, right? Immediately make the law of demand curve, draw the curve. If it is law of demand related, so demand curve is downward sloping and it is showing that income is increasing. So how I'm going to find it out? Okay, this is the demand curve and this is point, some point at price px, and supply SY, right? So it is SY PX point on the curve. And as per question, it is saying that income is increasing. We know that in the law of demand, income is remain constant, but they are increasing the income. They are increasing the income. So if income increases, demand also increases. So it will move this side. So it is right side or upwards, right side or upwards. Fine. Whereas if it is a supply curve, it is not a demand curve, it is a supply curve. If it is a supply curve, then we know that supply curve follow the law of demand and it will go in this manner. And just consider this point at the curve. Here the price is Px and supply is Sn, right? Supply is Sn, so it is Sn Px point, and income is increased. So income is increased. People's capacity to purchase is also going to increase. That means supply will also increase. So at this price Px, supply was S1 and income was I1, but now income is increased from I1 to I2. So definitely he is able to produce more on the same price in order to get more production, right? So it will shift in this direction. So supply curve will also move in right direction, but it will shift downwards, right? So whenever there is a question which is related to curve and you are not able to imagine it properly, right? Means you are just doing this thing ki acha sir told us that it will move right side. If you have any confusion, try to draw the curve immediately on the rough page, right? So that you will get good idea and you are able to make it correct. Otherwise there will be a problem for you, right? So keep this thing in your mind. Is it clear? Okay, so we have drawn one curve, that is supply curve, and at that supply curve, income was what? Income was I1, and we have increased the income from I1 to I2. Then curve was shifted towards right direction or downwards. Similarly, if we are going to what? If we are going to decrease the income, if we are going to decrease the income from I1 to I3, then definitely the power to purchase is going to decrease, right? And supply is also going to decrease in the similar fashion. And then this curve is going to shift in which direction? Then this curve will shift like this, right? Because what is going to happen on the same price, supply is going to decrease. So curve will shift in which direction? Left side or upwards. Left side or upwards. So this is supply curve, normal supply curve, and this is the supply curve when income was increased, and this is the supply curve when income was decreased. So what you have to keep in your mind, you have to keep in your mind the basic principle. The basic principle is what? The shifting of the curve. because there will be a question on the shifting of curve, and because this question generally bothers students a lot, they are not able to find it the right direction, right? Left side, many of them even they don't know that it is downsloping or upsloping curve, right? Curve always seen from where? Always seen from origin point. So from origin it is moving upwards, so it is upsloping curve. And if income is going to increase, supply curve, I just write it here. Later on I'll share the entire PDF with you. I'll share this entire PDF with you. Let's first complete this part, then I'll share this PDF with you so that you can have this PDF. So we can write it here. What? According to law of supply, supply is directly proportional to price. Supply is directly proportional to price. However, if income will increase, supply curve will shift right side. Supply curve will shift right side or upwards, right? But if income will decrease, supply curve will shift left side or downwards, right? So this is the take from supply curve. This is the take from supply curve. I hope this point is clear. Is it clear? I'm waiting for your comment. Is it clear? If it is clear, so that we can move to next point. Okay. So let's move to next point. Okay. So till then now, what we did, we have went for demand curve and supply curve, right? Demand curve and supply curve. And now we are going to take both on the same curve, means same graph, we are going to have both one. And while taking both one, price is inversely proportional to the demand and price is directly proportional to supply. So if we have to draw, what if we have to draw demand curve, so we know that demand curve will shift, move in the downside, So this is what? This is your demand curve. This is your demand curve. Okay. But if on the same curve at the same time we will take what? We will take supply curve also. We will take supply curve also. So when price is increasing, demand starts decreasing, right? Demand start decreasing. But we know that when the price will increase, supply is going to increase. So supply curve will shift in this direction, right? Supply curve will shift in this direction. Supply curve, right? Supply curve. So now we can see that a particular point, demand and supply curve is intersecting to each other, right? At a particular point, demand and supply curve will intersect to each other, and price PE. So this is price PE, and why price PE is important? Why price PE is important? This is the price where demand and supply is going to equal. At this price, demand and supply is going to be equal or constant, same demand and same supply at this price, because at this point of the price they are intersecting to each other. So we will call it as a equilibrium price. This is what? Equilibrium price. This is equilibrium price. Okay, is it clear? Equilibrium price. Now what we have did, equilibrium price is clear? Yes, Amit, you will get the PDF of this file. Don't worry. Once this part, demand, supply and elasticity will be over, I will share the PDF. I will share the PDF. This point is clear. Equilibrium price is clear. Okay. So this is demand curve and this is supply curve. And you have seen here what we did. We have increased and decreased the demand. We have seen that when the demand increases or demand decreases, supply curve shift in the different direction. We change the income and we have seen that what? Demand curve shifted. Similarly, we have seen that supply curve also shifted, right? So now what we are going to do, we will shift demand curve and supply curve here also, and we will see that what will be the impact on price. Price is here right now. Price is here, right? This is the price. Now we will change the demand. We will see that when the demand will changes, we have seen here what we have seen here. Income was increased, demand curve shifted in the right direction, demand curve shifted in the left direction when income was changed. Same thing we are going to apply here, and we will see the impact, right? So if demand is going to increase, when demand increases, income is increases. So what we are applying here, if demand is going to increase, then what will happen? So see the change We are going to draw the diagram of income increase here, right? So if income is going to increase, then this demand curve, this is the demand curve, this is also demand curve, demand increased, demand increase, and curve shifted upwards, curve shifted upwards. Similarly, if demand decreases, we have seen here income decrease, demand curve shifted downwards. So when the demand is going to decrease, demand curve shift downside. So we are also going to draw this diagram here also. And it is demand decrease curve, demand decrease curve, right? Now we have drawn three demand diagram. Here we have drawn supply curve, supply increase and supply decrease. Let's draw these curves also here. So if supply is going to what? If supply is going to increase, if supply is going to increase, this supply curve shift like this, supply curve will shift like this. And if supply what happened to supply here? Supply increased, supply increase. I have explained the supply curve now here, and what I told you, when supply increases, supply curve shift right direction or downwards. So similarly, I have drawn this supply increase curve here, and now I'm going to draw the supply. What? Supply was increased, now supply decrease curve. So supply decrease curve will be like this, right? And this is supply decrease curve, right? Now we can see that these are the three main intersection point. Main intersection point: demand curve, demand increase, demand decrease. Similarly, supply decrease, supply curve, supply increase curve, right? And earlier, when the simple demand and supply single curve was there, so it was an equilibrium price, right? It was an equilibrium price. Now you can see that when the demand and supply is changing, when the demand and supply both are changing, similarly, this intersection points means equilibrium price is also changing. You can see that every time when the demand or supply is shifting, then the curve and equilibrium price is also shifting. My question is, you can see from this point what these points are showing. These points are showing change in the price when demand and supply is changing accordingly, right? Red lines are showing supply curve, green line are showing demand curve, right? So if I'll ask you, my question is my question is when price will be maximum. These are the points A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, right? And this is O point. So O is an equilibrium price, right? And all others are different points. My question is, this is the equilibrium price, but when price will be maximum? Price will be maximum, clearly it is visible. Price will be maximum at what point? Price will be maximum at A point. So what A point is reflecting you? At A point, what is happening? Demand is increasing. And at the same point, what is happening? Supply is decreasing. Supply is decreasing. So if in economy, if in an economy, demand of a particular good is increasing, demand of a particular good is increasing, but at the same time its supply is decreasing, its supply is decreasing, then the price of that particular good is going to shoot up. It is going to be highest in any of the combination. In any of the combination, price is going to be highest. And if this situation arises, what situation? Demand is increasing, supply is decreasing. If this situation is not only for just one particular good, but for most number of goods, for most number of goods, the same situation is applying, right? Then the price rise in that particular economy is going to increase in very fast manner, right? And price rise, this price rise, we called it as a inflation, right? Inflation. So inflation will increase in very fast manner, right? When in economy, listen very carefully, I have explained this concept for individual good, but now we are going to integrate single good as an entire basket of goods in a particular economy. Basket of goods means what goods are in general use in this economy, right? For example, in India, if we will take food basket, if we will take food basket, so pulses, rice, vegetable, all these things are going to be included. But the consumption of non-vegetarian food, the consumption of non-vegetarian food out of complete food basket means all complete food which we are consuming as an Indian, if we will see the non-vegetarian food consumption, it will be around 30 to 35% out of 100%. Whereas if you will see the same thing, the food basket in country like Japan, in country like Japan, so the consumption of non-vegetarian food is even higher than the consumption of vegetarian food. In country like Japan, South Korea, or even in China, right? Similarly, in European countries and USA, right? The consumption of non-vegetarian food is higher, right? And it's very higher in some Southeast Asian nations, right? So when we will take their food basket, right? When we take their food basket, in their food basket, seafood is going to be very important part, because it is going to play a vital role in their food basket. It is one of the important part. Whereas when we will take Indian food basket, or India's case of food, seafood is going to just 8 to 10% out of total food basket. Whereas in Japan, the seafood is going to comprise of around 50 to 55% of total food demand, right? So if the price of seafood in India is going to change, then it is not going to severely impact India's food prices. But if in Japan the price of seafood is going to increase, then it is going to severely impact their food prices in general, right? So we have to see different scenarios whenever we are calculating particular thing, right? So what I did here, I just created this diagram for a single good, but now I am considering the entire Indian food basket, right? So entire Indian food basket. So if in India, because of some reason, for God's sake, it should not happen, but if in case, what will happen? Two disastrous scenario. One scenario, monsoon failed, right? Monsoon failed. At the same time, there is a disaster or something man-made disaster like war. So in general, wartime, the demand for food items is going to shoot up, right? Why? Because of war, we have to put more food supplies for our soldiers in very appropriate manner, in the swift manner, right? And all the resources which are applied for other things, we have to apply for that thing. So demand is slightly going to increase, right? Demand is going to increase, but because of the failure of monsoon, the entire supply system is being disturbed. So supply is going to decrease and demand is increased. Then the food prices in India, it is going to be very problematic. And see the destiny of India means it's inherent problem for India. In India, around 85% agriculture all over India. I'm talking about the entire India. In India, 80 to 85% agriculture is dependent on monsoon. It is dependent on monsoon, right? And in your country, more than 65% people are employed. 65 to 70% people are employed in agriculture sector. See how Indian economy, 60 to 75% people are employed in agriculture. Agriculture is dependent on monsoon. Monsoon is completely a kind of natural phenomena, right? And sometimes, just explaining you why even Reserve Bank of India is concerned about monsoon every year. So just for your understanding, this is our country's diagram, right? My art is not good, but just try to make you understand. That's why I'm drawing this figure. So here is Sri Lanka, which always come as a free with our India's map, right? So it is Sri Lanka. So every year, monsoon will enter first. Even this point is very important point from the point of view of any exam. They have asked this thing in many exam as a GK, general knowledge. If from which means which monsoons enter first? Number one question. Number two question, in which state monsoon enter first? So in India, monsoon enters first in the land of God, right? The land of God. The state, it is known as land of God, Bhagwan ka apna ghar, the land of God, and it is state of Kerala, not Karela, Kerala, right? The state of Kerala. And the state of Kerala, monsoon enter first, and monsoon is entering from which direction? It is a southeast monsoon or northeast monsoon. North is this side, so this is northeast monsoon. So this monsoon enter first, and it is responsible for rain. 60-70% rain in India is coming through Arabian Sea or Indian Ocean from this side, and rest of the monsoon enter from this side. But this monsoon enter first in India. Okay, and monsoon is what? Basically warm warm ocean currents, and when they touch the land masses, and these warm currents get condensed and rain happen. It's very simple natural phenomena. But here at South America, just giving you the understanding, here is a South America, and in this part of South America, just other part of the globe, the other part of the globe, South America, there is an oceanic effect known as La Nino and El Nino. La Nino and El Nino effect generates in this part of what? In this part of South America. So here this effect will generate the currents, and the currents will start moving from this side to this side. This side means they'll start moving from South America side and they will enter this side of India from here. They'll start entering here from Australia, South America to Australia. They will move in this direction. So they'll start moving here. And if this El Nino, which is coming from this direction, and monsoon in India is moving from this direction, if they are going to perfectly overlap, what they will do, they will convert this entire warm current into the cold current. And if it is going to convert in the cold current, there will be no rain in India. Right? So every year they will pass in this manner. El Nino currents and India's monsoon currents will go in this manner. So sometimes it will come first and they will just touch the tail of monsoon waves in India. So at the end of the monsoon, there will be low rainfall. Means returning monsoon is going to have a low rainfall. Sometimes they will pass in the beginning. So in the beginning, there will be low rainfall. So rainfall is completely dependent on the Nino effect, right? So right now, just January, and in India, monsoon generally enters in the month of May, right? In the month of May, it will enter in the India. But from March onwards, this calculation among whom? The calculation among the meteorologist and RBI started. Why? If it is going to overlap, then definitely what will happen? Then definitely monsoon is going to fail in India. And if monsoon is going to fail in India, that means what? The food prices are going to impact. And food is an essential thing. So if the price of food items is going to increase, it is going to create a spiral effect. Spiral effect means for that particular year, the inflationary rate are going to be higher. So RBI have to gear up itself to control the inflation from the beginning of the monsoon. So you can see that RBI have to concern about the agriculture also. Agriculture is concerned about the natural phenomena. So these some are the external factors. Another external factor, apart from the food, another important part is energy, basically which comes in form of crude oil, right? And you know that basically crude oil and gas, they are coming from the Middle Eastern part, right? Middle Eastern part, or for us it is the West Asia. From West Asia most of the oil and gas is coming, but West Asia is entirely what? It's a kind of not settled part. Lot of conflicts among themselves, these kingdoms are going on, and sometimes the conflict between Iraq and Europe, Iraq and US conflict, now Iran and US conflict. So if there will be conflict and that conflict is going to escalate up to what? War level, then definitely what is going to happen? That crude oil supply is going to be disturbed. Crude, crude oil supply will be disturbed, and that crude oil supply will be disturbed, then demand is means what? War will happen. In war we need food supplies, oil, all these things. So demand is definitely going to increase, but at the same time supply is going to decrease. So price of all crude oil, gas is going to increase. And again, India, 78% of India's energy need, 78% of India's energy need is based on what? Import, right? It is based on import. So if there will be any problem, in Gulf, like problem happened in 1990s. So I'll explain you that problem from this curve. In 1990, what happened? The war, first Gulf War was started. And because of that Gulf War, entire regions, oil supply got disturbed. So the price of the crude oil, demand was shoot up because of the war, and at the same time supply get disturbed. So the crude oil price, which was moving in this way, now at the top, and we have to import, and for import we have to pay what? Dollar. We have to pay the dollar. And what is happening in the international market? The price of dollar is also increased because everyone want dollar to purchase the oil. So the same thing happened for the dollar also. Dollar's demands was increased and supply was not available. Then, apart from the crude oil, dollar was not available, and India was a kind of closed economy. India was not open economy, closed economy. Closed in the sense only government sector was allowed to do the economic activity. So, whatever reserve of forex, forex means the foreign currency reserve. We started using our foreign currency reserves to maintain the crude oil supply because crude oil is an essential thing. You cannot stop it, otherwise your economy will stand still. And situation was getting worse day by day. Situation was getting worse day by day. And then finally what happened? India was left with $6 billion. $6 billion. So just imagine now India's at present foreign reserve is around $630 billion. This is today's reserve. And in 1990, this happened. In 1990, this happened. Means we was left with only $6 billion. Then we have opened our economy as per the terms and condition dictated by whom? IMF and World Bank. Right. So price in the economy, that is inflation, is very important. And with this diagram, we can see the changes in the price equilibrium. So when the price is going to be highest at point A, demand is highest and supply is low. Whereas when the price will be low in the economy, lowest price will be at when demand is decreasing. Whereas at the same time, supply is increasing. Right? Supply is increasing. Right? So in this way, we can analyze the change in the price in the economy. We can analyze the change in the price in economy. Right? So I hope you got understanding of this thing. If you understood, please let me know. I just joined and not understanding why geography in economy. So this will happen only when you will jump in the ocean, middle of the ocean. So you have to go back to the lecture, then you will be able to understand why the geography is being used to explain economy. To explain the economy, geography, war, anything can be used. So this price equilibrium is clear. How the price will shift, right? In what scenario price will be shift. Another thing, if you will see at point C, at point C, at point C, at point C, price is increased. At point C, price is increased, but this increase is small increase in the price. Small increase in the price. So price is shifted from O to C, that is small increase in the price. Small increase in the price, or we can say that because price rise can be called as an inflation. So we can say here what? Normal inflation. Whereas that this point price is highest, and it is what? High inflation. And when the price increase is just a normal price increase in the economy, we will always consider this normal increase in the price is good for the economy. Why normal price increase is the good for the economy? Because here the price increase is what? Normal price increase, and normal price rise is generally considered country like India 4 to or 2 to 6%. 2 to 6% is considered as a normal price rise in any economy, including Indian economy. So if the price is just increasing 2 to 4%, that means even despite the slight price rise, people's purchasing capacity will be maintained, right? And when the price increases, as per the law of demand, if the price will increase, supply will also increase. And if in order or price will increase, supply will also increase. Supply increase means what? Increase in the employment. Increase in the employment will further increase income. And if income increases, consumption and saving both increases. Consumption will further increase demand. Consumption will further increase demand, right? And if demand will increases, what will happen? If demand will increases, we know that price is inversely proportional to the law of, according to law of demand, price and demand are inverse proportion, right? Price and demand are in inverse proportion. But here what is happening? Demand is increasing, then as per the law of demand, if demand is increasing, then price must have to down. But here demand is increasing because other factors are also increasing. Employment increasing, income increasing, consumption, savings, all these things are increasing, right? And because of the rise of the demand, price increased, and this price increase is roughly around 2 to 6%. So price is increased. Now supplier have to take a call. The people who are involved in the production activity, they have to take a call. What call? They are able to see that price is increased in the market. Price is increased in the market, but at the same time, because of each and everything, employment, income, consumption and savings also increasing. So if we will further increase our production activity, price is increased, and now if we will increase our production activity, further employment will increase, further income will increase, and because further income is going to increase, definitely this price rise is not going to adversely affect people's capacity to consume and save more. People's capacity to consume and save more, it is not going to be severely impact. So this is why supplier is definitely going to increase the supply, right? So this is the phenomenon works when there is a normal price rise in the economy. Now if the price will decrease, like here we have price was decreasing on these points at G point or F point or D point or E points, all of these points price are decreasing, and apart from C point, H, B and A, all these points price is increasing. So what will happen when price starts decreasing in the economy, or price will increase in the severe manner in the economy? We have to discuss in detail, right? So for today, I'm going to wind it up here. And in next class, I will explain what happens when price will increase or decrease in the severe manner or with the greater frequency. So it will take around 15 to 20 minutes or maximum half an hour to explain that part. Then I will start elasticity after that. Okay. So for today, we are going to wind it up here. In next class, we will take further, we will discuss price and elasticity further. Okay. So any questions? No questions? Okay, fine. I'm going to stop this session right now. We will start uh, elasticity and price equilibrium in the next chapter, next lecture tomorrow. Okay, thank you.